Hi, everyone. Welcome to Film Vets and Happy Mother's Day. I'm Paul, your host, and my co-host,
Dan.
Dan, happy Mother's Day. I know you're a mother, so
happy. Yeah. I don't even know. I don't know. I don't know what to do with that. Low energy today. I'm tired.
Yeah, me too. We're gonna make this sweet and short and quick and all the good stuff you like. So we're gonna do a review today of Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 3. Yeah.
There we go.
We were gone for quite a while. But no matter what happens next, the galaxy still needs its guardians.
I'm done running. We'll all fly away together. One last time. Into the forever. That beautiful sky. We are
So Dan, tell me what you thought of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
You want me to always start with spoiler free? It always seems to be a common theme.
If we can, just for a minute. We don't have to stick with non-spoilers, but the movie's been out for about a week and
honestly, I think I can hold to this especially with this movie. It's not like I just
I would like to get
into...
Yeah, I would like to get to spoilers, just not right off the bat. Yeah.
Okay. So I think it was one of the best Marvel movies since Endgame, honestly. I think that it had a lot of heart. I think it was very self-aware. I think each character received a certain level of care that it had been missing in other recent Marvel movies. It felt an awful lot like, they were just trying to constantly continue the story. This movie felt like, yes, it was continuing a story, but it was starting a new one. It was giving you a new story to add to all the collection of all the other characters, where the other Marvel movies, and I'm thinking like Ant-Man, Quantumania and everything, it just felt like they railroaded past everything. Like, you should already know this, let's blow through it. Where this movie didn't do that. It in some weird instances you had some exposition, but it was tastefully done. You knew what was going on. If you walked into this movie cold, you kind of had an idea. You wouldn't be 100% in the know. It's still a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
But it's fantastic the way that they kind of picked it up, gave it a lot of feeling, and still to this day, I am floored by how well the Guardians of the Galaxy movies are, because I remember you and I talking about them before the first movie came out, that, is this going to be well received? These are unknown characters. We didn't really know the characters well. So it was just this thing coming out of left field. And now it's one of the better parts of Marvel, in my opinion.
Yeah,
what do you think? What do you think of the movie?
Well, I want to touch on what you just said just now. Yeah. I have a pretty good track record of pointing out shows and movies that I think are going to be hits, based off of just the creative people behind the scenes and the information that a lot of people there in the general public don't know about.
All of it.
All of it. James Gunn, he's been like just this prominent guy for me ever since I saw, what was his first one? Slither? I think Slither was like the first one. I was like, there's something about this guy. He has a voice. He has a vision that is interesting. I really want to go back and watch his Tromeo and Juliet movie. Like,
oh God,
that's probably terrible. But then he did the PG porn, and we were like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Yeah, it was hilarious. It's on YouTube. Y'all should go check it out. Honestly, just go see what we're talking about. Come back. Don't leave. Finish this, then go. I don't care.
I don't know. So
Yeah.
yeah, James Gunn has a voice, and I was really excited about that. And I had a lot of friends, and I don't remember if you were one of them specifically, but I remember one person said to me, I mean, what are they going to do with these characters? I don't know anything about them. They're, I'm not really interested in this movie. And to me, I was more excited about it than any other Marvel movie because I was like, you don't understand. They're going to take these characters and make them household names. I could feel it in my bones.
I said that.
You and one other person then, because I had multiple people tell me that.
Mhm.
And I remember being very excited about it. Now, what's very interesting that before I go into the movie, like my opinion, was the people up for Starlord were Glenn Howerton and Zachary Levi. They were very close to getting that role. They were very close. Glenn Howerton, from Sunny in Philadelphia, yeah, and Zachary Levi from Shazam. I have to say the thing about this movie that really was really great for me was that it brought out the best of Starlord and why Chris Pratt is a star to begin with, because he's just such a great character. And you remember the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie? He comes out. You got this very serious tone. He's on this planet, and he breaks out into a dance, and it's just like, I don't know. There's something really magical about that moment because it was so unexpected. I think it really shined a new light onto what the Marvel universe is and what it can be.
Mm-hmm.
And it feels like a lot of the cosmic and a lot of the humor comes from those movies, the Guardians movies. So when James was fired from Marvel and Disney over some old tweet jokes that were really bad that nobody cared about, it was very disheartening because I was like, I don't think anybody else needs to touch the Guardians of the Galaxy. They were talking about Taika Waititi. There were some other people talking about coming over and taking over. And it's not the same no matter who you get. And you can tell with this movie, there's a voice. There is a vision that comes through. And this, I have to agree. I mean, besides maybe Spider-Man No Way Home, which was a lot of fun. I think that I don't think it has a lot of repeat viewings. I'm gonna have to go back and watch it again. There's a lot I love about that movie, but it also occurs to me it's a very like look at this. It's a cameo of someone we remember. The little awkward things like that. Whereas this feels like a story that concludes an arc for every character, and it doesn't have to end in ways that you expect. Maybe when movies end a character, they do something that judging by the trailer, you probably all thought this person was going to not live or whatever. And it does something different. And I love that about this because it's so unexpected. But at the same time, a natural movement and progression towards the next thing. And I feel like James Gunn doesn't need to come back. I feel like the Guardians in that fashion doesn't need to come back. I think you can bring back some of the characters maybe, but overall, I enjoyed the hell out of this movie. I was going to go see it again today, but I was feeling tired myself. I don't know. There's something in the air today. I don't know what, but it was highly enjoyable. I do recommend seeing it before we go into spoilers. It's just probably one of the best Marvel movies, definitely the best Marvel trilogy of movies ever made, in my opinion, and I would assume Dan's. So that's the end of the non-spoiler review. We're going to get into spoilers now, so if you need to, just flash forward through the video. Fast forward. We're talking about
Wrong
the Flash
IP.
another time. All right. Wrong IP. Fast forward if you need to. But let's talk about spoilers. Okay.
So what was your favorite? What was your favorite scene of the movie?
I always go back. I don't know why. This is such a small scene, but it affected me so much. Was when it's a flashback scene where all of the animals and Rocket are playing in the pens and playing a little game of tag, and it was so heartwarming. It was just like, these animals are trapped and being tortured and mutilated and taken apart and put back together. And they find this little pocket of their world where they can just have fun for just a moment and be friends. And there's hope. They found hope. And it was just so lovely. And God, I felt so bad for Rocket. I felt so bad. I mean, you just don't understand the torture he talks about in the first and second movie, or you don't understand the gravity of all that until you see the kind of relationships he had and the loss he endured. And it was just really heartbreaking, but I love that scene so much. What about you?
Everything with Nathan Fillion. Everything with him was my absolute favorite part of the movie.
I love he's like, oh, you got one too. Yeah, I hate mine. Yeah, he's right there. He's right behind him. I laughed
so hard that I had to slouch down in my chair. We were towards the front, like, you know, the front section. We were in the back part of the front section, and everyone else was behind us up in the upper area. And I'm laughing so hard, I had to just slide down in my chair. I was dying the whole time. Like, it was
brilliant.
It was just a masterpiece. Like, that is somebody that has dealt with somebody really frustrating and went, you know what? I'm putting this in the script. I don't care. I'm putting it in. And they nailed it. They absolutely nailed it.
Something I loved about Nathan Fillion and the whole look that he was wearing and all the soldiers in that
oh yeah, they look
place.
Like tardigrades.
But that's great. I think that's so weird, but it fits so well with it's almost like a Douglas Adams thing, you know, where you have the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, where things are just odd for some reason. And I love stuff like that. I love that we don't, because if you think of what any other movie that no one really puts a lot of thought into, I mean, I'm not saying they're bad movies, but there's a lot of movies where people just, they go to an alien planet and they look exactly like everyone else, and they have the soldier uniforms and they got a beret or something, and this was like, what the hell are you wearing? What is that? You know? Yeah. I love that. That's so fun.
Absolutely no explanation. It just is. Move on.
Yeah,
it was so good.
Did you catch Ratcatcher from the Suicide Squad in this movie?
I did not.
She was the girl that Starlord was like, oh yeah, I'm going to hit on her and get the passcodes or whatever. And
that was her.
That was her. Yeah. That was a little cameo.
Oh, that's amazing.
A lot of cameos in this that a lot of people didn't know about. Oh, this was interesting. The three best friends of Rocket when they're in the cages. The otter, Lila? I think it's Lila. She was voiced by Linda Cardellini, who was also Hawkeye's wife in the Marvel universe. So yeah, but here's the thing: she had worked with James Gunn before. They're friends. They were in. He. I don't think he directed, but I know he wrote the Scooby-Doo movies, and she played Velma. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So just little things like that I love. I don't care that he puts his wife in the movies. She's a good actor. She's a great actor. And the fact she got shot in the leg, I laughed so hard. I was like, he shot his wife in the leg in this movie. That's fucking hilarious.
Yep.
Yeah. So it was funny when I went to the John Campea live show, I got to ask a question, and I was like, who do you think they're going to put in the Superman movie from the Guardians of the Galaxy? Because that's something James Gunn's going to do. And he was like, definitely his wife. I was like, yeah.
Maybe his brother.
Yeah, maybe. Oh, his brother's going to be... Dude, he was great as Kraglin, too. Let me just say.
Oh, I loved him. And he had such a wonderful character arc from the first movie to here. Like, and it surprises you. You didn't expect it. But all the way down to actually seeing the ghost of Yondu near the end of the movie, where he kind of puts it all together and he collects himself. And he finally believes in himself to start, I don't know, whistling.
I forgot about what happened with Kraglin when he got the arrow in the first place. Like he of course he got it, but then they had the after credits scene where Kraglin's practicing and he accidentally shoots the arrow into Drax and you hear him down the hallway. Ah! And he's just, Kraglin's like, I love that they continue that idea of, hey, he's not proficient yet, and I love stuff like that.
Good.
No, but by the end of the movie, he's in this dire situation and he steps up and Sean Gunn, he's also a lot of behind the scenes stuff. He was the mocap for the all the stuff with Rocket from the first movie to the third, and when they're in the cage. He was also the first word he said. That was Sean Gunn. So when he came in and said "hurts," which that broke my heart.
Yeah.
I like animal cruelty. That gets to me more than anything. Human cruelty is one thing, but they're so defenseless and they're so sweet, and it's like if I had a pet and they harmed it, I don't know what I would do. It's just it's awful.
It breaks your heart.
It does. But anyways, let's talk about fun stuff.
Dude, really quick, speaking of
Yeah.
animal cruelty, I gotta say, I actually shed a tear in the theater whenever Cosmo was called a good dog.
That
because
was
it was
great.
just, it
That
was
was
so
great.
rough how Cosmo's like, you take that back, you don't mean it. And you
What?
can see how much it bothered her.
But I love we had this entire time of the movie where that happened at the beginning, and then they come back to Cosmo and Kraglin and all these characters from the other movies sitting around a table, and you're in the middle of this story, and it's like, the Russians shoot me out of space, and that's a long story, and she's like,
Yeah.
but that is nothing compared to calling me a bad dog. It's like, Jesus. It's so great. I love the callbacks, and the jokes really worked throughout this movie for me. I laughed a lot, and
Oh yeah,
I really thought they were going.
everything landed. It had perfect
Yeah,
timing.
yeah,
Really,
and I
it did.
really I'd say more so than the second movie. And probably on par
Yes.
with the first movie. It felt a lot more even, and I like the second movie. I think it's a great film. I like this one better. I do. And
It just has more heart.
yeah, I think
Like,
getting to the
with
rocket
Rocket's
stuff really
story-
made it. Yeah.
And can
Yeah.
I just say, they did, like, Ego was great.
Yeah.
Oh, what was the first villain's name? Yeah, see, the blue guy. the
Ronan.
Smurf.
Ronan the
Ronan.
Accuser. Yeah.
Ronan the Accuser. He was great too. So far, like, the Guardians villains in each movie have been fantastic. Can I say this one was like this villain topped what
Yes. I think
everything. Like he
the evolutionary-
was menacing. He was not shy about wiping everyone out on the bridge. He was obsessed. He was a man obsessed, not just
I
with
think-
perfection, but with Rocket himself.
Yeah,
It
I
was
think that
crazy to see.
it's really fascinating because I was like, I think I hate him more than any of the other villains because he
Yep.
really is like the opposite of what a good father should be. I mean, don't get me wrong, Ego's pretty terrible. He's
Pretty
really
terrible.
bad. He kills all his children. No, wow. But this one tortures his kids. I mean, if you think about it, he takes these animals and creates them the way they are and becomes a father-like figure. And for a moment, you see the evolutionary sitting down with Rocket and you think, oh, that's kind of cute. He's kind of bonding with Rocket for that moment. And that's when Rocket sees the Rocket, he's like, oh, Rocket, yeah, just, and the fact he turns around and goes, yeah, just incinerate them. I don't care.
Yep.
And it's like, wow, what is, and I did jump when they got shot, all the animals, especially Lila.
Yeah.
Lila
too.
comes out of the cage, hugs him, and he's like, it's good to have friends. Bam! I jumped out of my seat and I was like,
Yep.
that was an actual shot. Like, it wasn't a laser. It wasn't something science fiction. It felt visceral.
Mhm.
And I think that added to that heartbreaking moment where Rocket turns around and he sees both Floor and Tief's dead. It's just, it's hard. It's a dark movie, but at the same time, it needed to be because that's what Rocket is. That's why he's the way he is. That's why he's always pushing everyone away. Yondu said it in the second movie, you're just like me. You push people away because you're afraid of letting people in. And I think that needed to be explored. And I'm so glad they did.
Yes. Me too.
Another thing I loved was Starlord going back home to be with his grandfather.
Yeah.
I did cry at that. I was
Yeah,
really
me
moved
too.
by that. And I love the after credit scene where he's just sitting there eating cereal and talking about mowing the lawn. He's like, I shouldn't be out there.
Who do you think he was talking about?
The
'Cause
neighbor.
he's like, yeah, some 45-year-old and able-bodied man watching
Yeah,
me
he's
mow
talking
the
to-
lawn. It ain't right.
It was just like the neighbor. He's like, this is his life now. He's just mowing lawns for neighbors. I don't know. He's like telling. He's like, I just don't think I should be doing this. There's something wrong. His grandfather's like, don't get me started. He's like,
Yeah.
well, now I want to know. I think it says a lot about him, though. It's like he's ready for something less complicated than going on these missions. He's ready for normal life. And
Well, I wonder,
yeah.
because it does say Starlord will return.
he will, but I kind of
So
like the
I
idea
wonder
of him.
in what context.
But I love that, you get this, the legendary Starlord will return, and in the background you just hear cereal bowl, because it's like, is the return going to be him just like hanging out with his grandpa? I would watch that.
I would too. I would watch a whole movie of somebody that has had this background trying to acclimate to Earth-like. Like that would be
fun.
hilarious.
That would be funny. They could do something like the holiday special where Star-Lord's like just living every day and it's difficult. He's like, I don't understand why I can't just pay for this with credits. What this money just stupid, you know? And
He's ready to rob a
like
bank.
I don't know if go that far, but well, yeah, I don't know. He was a thief at one point. Who knows? I will say the new set. I want to go back first before I go into this, but I want to talk about the new Guardians, the new set of Guardians that'll be going forward with, possibly in future movies or whatever. But how did you feel about Adam Warlock?
I honestly thought he was done very well. He filled what role he should. Now, I'm not familiar with him from the comics, unfortunately. I don't know if he was supposed to be that or if he was supposed to be
He is
a
not
lot more
that.
mature and menacing. But he just seemed so naive, so lost. You know, but he even had his own version of Lost when his mother was killed. Like he had his own, you know, kind of origin and his own arc in this movie, but I found him to be hilarious. I thought he was charming. I honestly, I don't remember who the actor is that played as him, but
Will Poulter.
Thank
Will
you.
Poulter.
See,
Yeah,
I knew
you've
you
seen
have to
him,
understand.
man.
Paul is basically IMDb.
I'm an IMDb machine. No, you know, Will Poulter has been in so many good things. I remember, you remember We Are the Millers? He was the kid.
Oh yeah.
I mean, ever since then, I was like, I had no idea he was British until he opened his mouth in interviews. I was like, oh my God, that's crazy. I always like Will Poulter, and I'm really happy with this performance in this. I do think a lot of people were disappointed in the fact that that character is pretty different in the comics, but it didn't bother me either. I thought it was I thought his role was much more insignificant than people were led to believe, because they set him up in the last movie, and in the comics, he's very much the reason the Infinity Gauntlet saga ends. You know, I mean, he's a big character in the comics. So he's more smaller in this as a person. He's very powerful, but he is still not that powerful. So I think I understand where people are coming from. That said, do we really need another big character like that who is all powerful and serious? And I don't know. I'm happy with the way it was done. I really am.
I thought it was done very smart. Honestly, I mean, this coming from somebody that doesn't have all of the experience with the comics, I don't feel slighted in the slightest, because it's done so well, is so tasteful, that I don't believe it slanders anything of what he could have been. Like, if they would have turned around and done it to Nick Fury, you know, like,
sure.
That's one could argue it's a little different, but if you're not very familiar with the character, then what do you know? What do you have to base it off of? It's only the really like die-hard people that are going to have a problem. And if you don't have some room for interpretation of things or some play with some of the story, then you're going to miss out on a great story, because you want to rigidly adhere to something that's already existing in another medium. Go to the other medium. It's okay.
Yeah, I've come to the conclusion when it comes to comic books. Look, you have a status quo for all these characters. You're always going back to Peter Parker will always be Peter Parker. He'll always go back to not being with Mary Jane. He'll always be Spider-Man. No matter who comes along, he's going to be Spider-Man. You can't progress that way. Comics don't progress like Marvel and DC. And yes, you can bring in new characters, but it feels very static sometimes. And I'm kind of getting annoyed by that. And when I read comics, I'm like, okay, look, I see, I see what they're doing. They're bringing people back all the time. Batman died. He's back because they need Bruce Wayne to be Batman. There's stuff like that. Whereas this feels like, they go forward. They move on. You let go of these characters. Drax is gone. He's not coming back. Dave Bautista's already said, unless they bring in a different actor, I don't see that happening. I don't want to see anybody else play Drax. I just don't.
No, me neither.
They
have the MCU in a specific universe. What is it, 616?
Yeah, I think it's 616, yeah.
So they have 616 as a sandbox. They're able to take these characters and kind of move up their timelines, push back their timelines, move them, sift them around so that way you can get a new story out of these characters instead of giving you the same story over and over and over in different mediums. There are a lot of things to look forward to when you have that
X-Men,
give and take
Fantastic
relationship.
Four.
Exactly. Look
They
at
got those
X-Men.
coming.
Oh my God. And,
Well, you know,
and then they
playing...
took the original X-Men and threw back in the Days of Futures Past and then brought James McAvoy, which was just a treasure from Patrick Stewart, which nobody thought he would be able to hold the candle up to, but he did.
Well, I mean, yeah, exactly. And MCU isn't that, but they could totally say they brought Patrick Stewart into the MCU. So they can do anything they want. They want to bring James McAvoy if they can.
Anything they want.
But here's the thing I wanted to bring up before we go any further with Guardians. Did you see who is like close to signing for Reed Richards? I really like that. Really? Who? I thought I sent it to you. Adam Driver, man.
Really? You probably did. I'm tired, man. I'm ready for bed.
No. That's fine. That's fine. I just thought that was so cool because we're like such big fanboys. I was like, oh my God, Adam Driver coming in as Reed Richards. Hell yes.
By the way, veterans, right? Veterans, Adam Driver, veteran. You know, you're starting to see why. All right, now we're moving on.
Absolutely. All right, moving on. So we're there. There were, of course, the soundtrack. Brilliant. I thought all the needle drops worked. You had that awesome fight scene in the hallway with No Sleep Till Brooklyn by the Beastie Boys. Yep. Brilliant. And some people didn't like this, but I really did, was Florence and the Machine at the end, Dog Days Are Over.
Yeah,
it felt very beautiful and like it was like these characters finally found some happiness in their life. And you need a song that represents that. I think it did beautifully. Let's talk about the new Guardians. What does that sound?
What sound?
Nothing. I heard music. I don't know. I'm going crazy. So great. So let's talk about the new Guardians. We have Rocket and Groot, who's now King Groot. I don't know. He has like a crown or something.
Kaiju Groot.
Kaiju. Oh, I loved Kaiju Groot. Oh my God. Every character was great, by the way. I loved everyone had a great moment. Mantis being probably my favorite because she always has those moments where she's like, let me test this sound. Hello. Like everyone's so great. So the end, we have Rocket, we have King Groot, we have Adam Warlock, we have Cosmo, who I adore. Cosmo's one of my favorites. I'm so glad they did her justice. And we have apparently Phyla, who was in the comics known as Quasar. There's a much more complicated story, but she's one of the Star Girls that they got at the end that they helped out. She was one of the main ones. Am I leaving anybody? And Kraglin, thank you. Well, yeah, I left him out, unfortunately, but that's a good group. I don't know if I'm interested in seeing them in another movie, especially if James Gunn isn't coming back, because he's over there leading DC now. He's not coming back for another movie, at least not anytime soon. I just like the idea that Rocket is out there leading a new team. I don't think I need anything. They could show up in like Secret Wars or, the Kang Dynasty movie that's coming out. But overall, I'm just excited if Marvel has this continued momentum of goodwill, because this was just so well done. And it's just, I worry a little because it's like, okay, why haven't the other things they've done been this good? And well, they didn't have James Gunn behind the helm, they didn't have
there
that.
It is.
Yeah. And without James Gunn kind of shepherding this, I'm honestly more excited for the DC stuff coming up. Not to say I'm not excited for Fantastic Four or anything else. It's just this was a big win, and I don't know if they're going to be able to keep it up. We'll see. I mean, I don't know. Well, there's a lot of heat up on casting for Superman right now, so I'm kind of like really into that right now. I mean, do you hear who they got for Lex Luthor? Possibly. I mean, it's perfect. I mean, in my opinion, it's Nicholas. It's
say Cage. Please say Cage.
No. But you're not far off.
Oh.
Yeah. So there is a rumor that this person, I'm going to find his name, Nicholas Hoult. Now, Nicholas Hoult played him opposite Nicolas Cage and Renfield.
Yep. That is hilarious.
I would love to see him as Lex Luthor. He's a really talented actor. He's been a kid. He was a kid actor. He was actually in the Nicolas Cage film, the Weatherman. He was his son, and so he's just been acting. Oh, and About a Boy. I mean, he's been acting since he was a little kid, and I'm really excited.
He was Beast in the X-Men movies too, right?
He was Beast. Yes, he was. I could see him being Lex Luthor. I would die to see that. That would be awesome. And the guy they got for Superman, he looks like Superman. He's a great actor. I've seen him in other things. His name is well, now I got full up. I don't know his name.
Well, I mean, since we're talking about Superman, I am excited to see how this deal for Henry Cavill, who is our previous Superman, goes through with Amazon and Games Workshop. I am just sitting here waiting for any crumb of news.
Oh yeah, me too. I'm going to share the screen to show you the cast.
I want some kind of 40K deal.
And this is from the Hollywood Reporter, so this is pretty legit stuff. So if you look, you see Nicholas Hoult in the far left. Now, the second one is David Cornsweet. The dude, I mean, he shaves. He looks just like freaking Superman. I mean, he almost looks like Henry Cavill, only younger. These other two women are... I'm pretty sure the one on the far right is from The Marvelous Miss Maisel. They're up for Lois Lane. I don't know what these are all people that are top contenders. By tomorrow it could be a completely new cast, but right now I'm super excited for this. And James Gunn, he, if anything, that universally known fact is his casting is on point. That dude gets casting. Yes. I don't have a problem with whoever he picks, but I'm just excited for that. And I think Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is just such a great love letter to the end of this era of heroes that were created. And it's not going to happen again for a long time unless James Gunn really knocks out of the park with Superman. And I think he can. I really do. We'll see. And I'm ready to go see this movie again. There's just so many little things I missed. Like, I want to look at the home of the animals that, are human hybrids, that humanoid, I think they're called, they're like a name for them, the animal hybrid humans or something. But they had that home and they're walking through and they're just seeing these pictures of them, like, the lifestyle photos on the wall. And I love stuff like that. It's so quirky and weird. I think I really dig it. But yeah, man, let's wrap this up. Is there anything else you want to go over before we move on?
No, that I just cannot wait to see this movie again. I love it so much.
Same. And I also noticed no one died. Not one person. No, not the main cast. Not a one.
I was going to say Mother died. And there's a lot of people that died on the ship.
Mother?
The gold
Mother.
Lady.
Oh, yeah, I meant the main cast. I'm sorry. Like the Guardians.
Yeah, nobody in the main cast
even
died,
technically,
finally.
I think they said the villain didn't really die either because he's just left on a ship, but that ship blew up. Who knows? But
I guess that's open for interpretation.
Well, he did say it would be a face-off.
Oh, God. Okay. I think that's where we need to wrap it up.
Yep. What did you think of the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3? If you saw it, let us know in the comments below. Like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to check out our trailer reactions and other segments. Thank you so much, veterans, for watching today. And Dan, thank you for joining me on this Mother's Day.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, and make sure you tell your mom Mother's Day, or Happy Mother's Day from me.
I will.
All right.
Bye, everyone.
Fine. Bye.